I bared my soul to Emily, my fiancée. She knew my family broke me, yet she invited them to our wedding. I left the altar. And now what? My name is James. I'm 32, living in a small apartment in Seattle, working from home as a software developer. Life's been good to me lately, but my past? That's a different story. One I've tried hard to leave behind. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in a house that never felt like home. My dad walked out when I was 4, leaving nothing but a vague memory of his cologne and the sound of the front door slamming. I don't know why he left. Mom never talked about it. She just moved on, remarried a guy named Richard when I was 6. Richard was cold, distant. He made it clear I wasn't his kid. "You're not mine, James," he'd say, his voice flat, like he was stating the weather. Mom didn't argue. She'd just nod, like I was some burden they were stuck with. I spent my childhood tiptoeing around their rules, trying to be invisible. School was my escape, where I could pretend I had a normal family. But home? It was a constant reminder I wasn't wanted. When I turned 18, everything changed. The morning of my birthday, Mom woke me up at dawn. My stuff was already packed in a suitcase by the door. "You're an adult now, James," she said, her eyes avoiding mine. "It's time to go." No discussion, no goodbye hug, just a suitcase and a one-way bus ticket to Seattle. I was stunned, but I didn't fight it. I grabbed my things and left, the door clicking shut behind me. That was the last time I saw her or Richard. I haven't spoken to them since. I built a life in Seattle, far from Portland's shadows. I got a job, made friends, found my own rhythm. But the scars? They're still there. Every time I think about my family, my chest tightens, like I'm that kid again, waiting for someone to care. I promised myself I'd never let them back in. They didn't want me then. I don't need them now. My half-sister, Sarah, is the only one I kept in touch with. She's 10 years younger, lives in Olympia, about an hour away. We'd meet up every Thursday for coffee, just to catch up. She was too young to understand what happened back then, but I thought we had a bond. I was wrong about that too, but I'll get to that later. For now, all you need to know is I've worked hard to protect my peace. Seattle's my home, my fresh start, and I'd do anything to keep it that way. I met Emily 3 years ago at a cozy coffee shop in downtown Seattle. I was hunched over my laptop, debugging code, when she spilled her latte on my table. She apologized, cheeks red, and offered to buy me a new coffee. Her smile was warm, disarming. We started talking, and soon, those coffee shop meetups became dates. Emily was vibrant, ambitious, a marketing manager with big dreams. I fell hard. Within a year, we were living together in my Capitol Hill apartment, planning a future. Early on, I opened up about my past. Over late-night talks, I told her about Portland, about Dad leaving, Mom's coldness, Richard's rejection. I explained how they kicked me out at 18, how I've been no contact since. Emily listened, her eyes soft, but she'd say things like, "Maybe one day you'll reconnect. Family's important." I'd shut it down, explaining how their abandonment shaped me. I thought she understood, but looking back, I see she never really got it. When I proposed last spring, on a rainy hike in Mount Rainier National Park, she said yes before I even finished. We were giddy, planning a small wedding at a venue in Bellevue. But as we started organizing picking flowers, tasting cakes, things shifted. Emily became fixated on my family. "You should invite your mom, James," she'd say, scrolling through guest lists. "Maybe it's time to heal." I'd remind her of the suitcase, the bus ticket, the years of silence. "They don't get to share this," I'd say, my voice firm. She'd nod, but her eyes said she wasn't convinced. It got worse as the wedding neared. One night, over dinner at our favorite Italian place in Pike Place, she pushed again. "What if you just invited Sarah? She's your sister. She'd love to be there." I felt my jaw tighten. Sarah and I were close, sure, but inviting her felt like opening a door to the past I'd locked shut. I told Emily it wasn't about Sarah. It was about keeping my boundaries. "You don't get it," I said, my fork clattering on the plate. "They made me feel worthless. I won't let them back in." She sighed, like I was being stubborn, and changed the subject. Her insistence grew relentless. Every few days, she'd drop comments about family unity, or how weddings bring people together. I'd repeat myself, feeling like a broken record. It was exhausting. I started wondering if she even saw me the real me, not some project to fix. I loved her, but her refusal to respect my pain was wearing me down. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was wrong to hold so tightly to my past. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. My family didn't deserve a seat at my table, not after what they'd done. And Emily? She was supposed to be on my side. The tension with Emily kept building, like a storm ready to break. Wedding planning was supposed to be exciting, but every conversation about the guest list turned into a battle. One night, after a long day coding, I was sprawled on our couch in Seattle, scrolling through emails. Emily sat across from me, her laptop glowing, and said, "James, we need to talk about your mom again." My stomach nodded. I set my phone down, trying to stay calm. "We've been over this, Emily. They're not coming. End of story." She leaned forward, her voice soft but insistent. "I just think you'll regret it if you don't give them a chance. Weddings are for family." I felt heat rise in my chest. "Family?" I snapped. "They threw me out at 18, Emily. They're not my family. You know this." She didn't back down. "You're holding on to anger. What if you invited them and it healed things? You'd thank me later." Her words hit like a slap. Thank her? For ignoring everything I'd been through? I stood up, pacing our small living room. "You're not listening. This isn't about healing. It's about me protecting myself." Her eyes narrowed. "You're being selfish, James." You don't know what's best for you. That was it. I exploded. Selfish? If you can't respect what I've been through, maybe I shouldn't be marrying you at all. The words hung in the air, heavy. Emily's face fell, but she didn't apologize. Instead, she doubled down. I'm trying to help you. You'll see I'm right in the long run. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my keys and jacket, my heart pounding. I need space, I muttered, storming out of our apartment. I drove to Tacoma, to my buddy Mike's place, an hour away. The road blurred as I replayed her words. How could she think she knew better than me? Mike let me crash on his couch, handing me a beer as I vented. She's crossing a line, man, he said. You've been clear. She's not respecting you. I nodded, but my chest ached. I loved Emily, but this felt like betrayal. I stayed in Tacoma until midnight, driving back to Seattle under a starry sky. Emily was asleep when I got home. I didn't want to face her, so I slept on the couch, the hum of the city outside my only company. Morning came, and Emily left for work without a word. I sat at my desk, trying to focus on code, but my mind was a mess. Was I overreacting? No. She'd dismissed my pain, my boundaries. I texted her, "We need to talk tonight." No reply. By afternoon, I was restless, checking my phone every 10 minutes. She was supposed to be home by 5:30, but the clock ticked past 6. My worry grew. Had something happened? Or was she avoiding me? I paced the apartment, the silence deafening, my thoughts spiraling. Emily was supposed to be my partner, my safe place, but now I wasn't sure who she was anymore. I sat in our Seattle apartment, the clock ticking past 6, my nerves fraying. Emily was late, and she hadn't texted back. I tried to focus on work, but my mind kept circling back to our fight. Was she okay? Was she avoiding me? The silence was suffocating. Then, at 6:15, the door opened. Emily walked in, her face tight with anxiety. Behind her was my half-sister, Sarah, from Olympia. My stomach dropped. Sarah and I met every Thursday for coffee, but her showing up unannounced? That wasn't normal. "James, we need to talk," Emily said, her voice shaky. Sarah stood there, clutching her purse, eyes darting around like she was afraid to meet mine. "What's going on?" I asked, my tone sharp. Sarah burst into tears, collapsing onto the couch. I froze, confused. Emily sat beside her, rubbing her back, while I stood there, arms crossed, waiting for answers. After what felt like forever, Sarah finally spoke, her voice choked. "I'm so sorry, James. I didn't mean for this to happen." She started rambling about our family. Apparently, when she told Mom and Richard about my engagement, it sparked a fight between them. Not about me. Of course, they didn't care about me. It was about my half-brother, Michael, 28, still living in their Portland house, jobless, single, mooching off them. Mom wanted to kick him out, just like she did to me at 18. Richard refused, saying Michael needed more time. Now they were separated, Mom crashing with her sister in Salem, refusing to return until Michael was gone. I listened, my jaw tight. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Sarah wiped her eyes. "I thought maybe if you invited them to the wedding, it could fix things. Your engagement started this mess." I laughed, bitter. "My engagement? You're blaming me for their dysfunction?" I turned to Emily. "And you brought her here? After everything I told you?" Emily looked down, her hands twisting. "Sarah said you've been talking about them every Thursday like you want to reconnect." I felt like I'd been punched. "That's a lie," I said, my voice low. Sarah sobbed harder. "I just thought it would help. Mom's a mess, and Richard's stubborn, and I thought a wedding." I cut her off. "Stop. This isn't my problem. They threw me out, Sarah. You know that. Why would I want them at my wedding?" My hands shook as I spoke. "You think I owe them anything? After they made me feel like nothing?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. "James, I didn't know." I held up a hand. "You should have talked to me, not her." Sarah kept crying, muttering apologies, but I wasn't having it. Their drama wasn't my burden. I pointed to the door. "Sarah, you need to leave. Now." She looked shocked, like she expected me to cave. "James, please," she whispered. I shook my head. "You crossed a line. I'm done." She grabbed her purse, still sniffling, and left, the door clicking shut behind her. I turned to Emily, my chest tight. "Why didn't you trust me? I've been clear about my family." She wiped her eyes. "I thought I was helping. Sarah made it sound like you were hurting." I shook my head, the weight of her betrayal sinking in. "We need to fix this, Emily, or we're done." She nodded, her face pale. "I'll do whatever it takes." "Therapy?" I exhaled, exhausted. "Yeah, therapy." But deep down, I wasn't sure if trust could be rebuilt. I stood in our Seattle apartment, the air heavy with tension. Sarah was gone, her apologies echoing in my head, but I was too angry to care. Emily sat on the couch, her eyes red, twisting her hands like she was trying to wring out the guilt. "James, I messed up," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I should have talked to you first." I crossed my arms, my heart pounding. "Yeah, you should have. So why didn't you? Why'd you go behind my back with Sarah?" Emily took a shaky breath, reaching for her phone. "Let me show you something." She scrolled through her messages, her hands trembling. "Sarah's been texting me for weeks. She said you were struggling, that you kept bringing up your family during your Thursday coffee meetups." I frowned, my stomach churning. "What? That's not true. I never said I wanted to reconnect. I've been clear I'm done with them." Emily's eyes widened. "But she told me you were too proud to admit it, that deep down you wanted them at the wedding." I felt a surge of rage. Sarah had been lying, twisting our conversations to manipulate Emily. "Show me the texts," I demanded. Emily hesitated, then handed me her phone. I scrolled through weeks of messages. Sarah had painted a picture of me as conflicted, secretly longing for family reconciliation. "James talks about Mom all the time," one text text read. He's just embarrassed to admit he misses her. Another. He blames himself for the rift. He wants them back, but won't say it. Every word was a lie. I'd never said anything like that. Our Thursday chats were about work, life, anything but Mom and Richard. I looked at Emily, my voice low. You believed this? After everything I told you about my past? She wiped a tear from her cheek. I thought I was helping, James. Sarah made it sound so real. I didn't want you to regret cutting them out. My chest tightened. You should have asked me. I've always been honest with you. When I switched jobs last year, we talked every night. You were my rock. How could you think I'd hide something this big? Emily's lip trembled. I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you. Sarah, still sniffling in my memory, had tried to interrupt. Don't show him those, she'd pleaded when Emily grabbed her phone. But Emily had pushed back. I'm trying to save us, Sarah. He deserves the truth. That moment had sealed it. Sarah's betrayal was deliberate. She'd used Emily to push her own agenda, thinking a wedding invite would fix our broken family. I turned to Emily, my voice steady but cold. Sarah's out of my life. No more Thursdays. I'm done with her. Emily nodded, her face pale. I get it. I messed up too. What do we do now? I exhaled, the weight of it all crushing me. We try therapy, couples counseling. But Emily, my trust is broken. You went behind my back, let her manipulate you. That hurts. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I'll do whatever it takes, she said, her voice cracking. I love you, James. I want us to work. I looked at her, torn. I loved her too, but the sting of betrayal was raw. We'll see, I said. Therapy's a start, but you've got a lot to prove. The room fell silent, the future of our relationship hanging by a thread. Emily and I started couples therapy the next week at a small counseling center in Seattle's Fremont neighborhood. I was skeptical, my trust in her still fractured, but I agreed to try. The first session was brutal. I sat on a stiff chair, arms crossed, staring at the therapist's bookshelf to avoid Emily's eyes. She fidgeted, her hands twisting in her lap. James, tell me how you're feeling, the therapist, Dr. Carter, prompted, her voice calm but firm. I didn't hold back. Betrayed, I said, my voice tight. Emily went behind my back. She let Sarah manipulate her, ignored everything I've been through. I don't know if I can trust her anymore. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I thought I was helping, she whispered. I didn't understand how much your family hurt you. I clenched my jaw. I told you, Emily, over and over. You chose to believe Sarah's lies instead. The room felt heavy, the air thick with my anger and her guilt. Dr. Carter guided us, asking Emily to explain her actions. She admitted she'd been naive, caught up in Sarah's stories about me secretly wanting reconciliation. I thought I could fix things, she said, her voice breaking. I was wrong. Those first sessions were raw, like peeling back a scab. I poured out years of pain, Mom's coldness, Richard's rejection, the suitcase by the door in Portland. Emily listened, really listened, for the first time. She started to grasp the depth of my trauma, how inviting my family wasn't just a bad idea, it was a violation of everything I'd built to protect myself. One session, she reached for my hand, her eyes pleading. I'm so sorry, James. I didn't see how much this hurt you. I didn't pull away this time, but I didn't squeeze back either. Dr. Carter pushed us to set boundaries. I was clear. My family was off limits. No contact, no wedding invites, no exceptions. Emily nodded, her face serious. I get it now. I won't push again. She started taking responsibility, owning her mistake in trusting Sarah. She stopped trying to fix me and focused on listening instead. It wasn't easy for her. She'd grown up in a tight-knit family in Bellevue, where conflicts were smoothed over with hugs and apologies. My world, shaped by abandonment, was foreign to her. On my end, I worked on communicating better. I'd always bottled up my feelings, assuming Emily would just get it. In therapy, I learned to spell out my needs. I need to feel heard, I told her one session. I need you to trust what I say about my past. She nodded, tears streaming. I'm trying, James. I want to be better for you. Slowly, we made progress. We practiced validating each other, approaching disagreements with care instead of defensiveness. It was exhausting, but it felt like rebuilding something real. By the final sessions, we'd reached an agreement. Our wedding would be about us, no family drama. Emily promised to respect my boundaries, and I promised to keep talking, even when it was hard. I started to feel flickers of hope, like maybe we could move past this. The trust wasn't fully back, but it was growing. We left therapy with a plan, a wedding in Bellevue, surrounded by friends, focused on our love. I wanted to believe we'd made it through the worst, but deep down, a part of me stayed cautious, bracing for something to go wrong. The wedding day arrived, a crisp autumn afternoon in Bellevue. The venue, a charming hall with fairy lights and cedar beams, buzzed with anticipation. I stood at the altar, my suit crisp, my heart a mix of excitement and nerves. Friends filled the seats, their smiles grounding me. Emily and I had worked hard in therapy, rebuilding trust, setting boundaries. We'd agreed, no family drama, just us celebrating our love. I was ready to start this new chapter, to leave the past behind. Emily walked down the aisle, radiant in her white dress, her smile bright but nervous. For a moment, everything felt right. The officiant began, his voice warm, guiding us through the ceremony. I'd spent weeks crafting my vows, wanting them to be honest, heartfelt. When it was my turn, I pulled out the folded paper, my hands steady. I looked at Emily, her eyes locked on mine, and started. Emily, you've been my partner, my home. We've faced challenges, worked through pain, and come out stronger. I love you, and I promise to build a life with you, free from the shadows of my past. I paused, my voice catching. In therapy, we agreed this day would be ours. No family, no conflict, just us. Her smile faltered, her eyes darting to the back of the venue. My stomach twisted. I followed her gaze, and there they were, my mother and Sarah, sitting in the last row. My heart sank, a cold wave of betrayal washing over me. They weren't supposed to be here. We'd set that boundary, fought for it in therapy. Yet there they were, Mom's face blank, Sarah's eyes avoiding mine. The room spun. I gripped the paper, my vows forgotten. Emily's face flushed, her hands trembling. She knew. She'd invited them, gone behind my back again. The officiant paused, sensing the shift. Guests whispered, confused. I couldn't let this slide. This was our day, my safe space, and she'd violated it. I turned to the crowd, my voice shaking but firm. I need to say something. This wedding was meant to celebrate our love, free from my family's drama. Emily and I agreed no family, but my mother and sister are here, without my consent. Gasps rippled through the guests. Emily's face burned red, tears welling. James, she started, but I held up a hand. I trusted you, I said, my voice breaking. We worked so hard to rebuild, and you broke that trust again. I faced the crowd, my chest tight. I can't do this, not like this. I need to honor my boundaries, my heart. The silence was deafening. Emily reached for me, her eyes pleading, but I couldn't look at her. The pain was too raw, the betrayal too deep. I turned and walked away from the altar, my steps heavy but certain. Guests murmured, some calling my name, but I kept going. Outside, the cool air hit my face, and I leaned against a tree, my breath ragged, relief mixed with heartbreak. I'd wanted this day to be perfect, but Emily's choice shattered everything. My phone buzzed texts from her, calls, but I couldn't answer. I needed space, time to process. Days passed, then weeks. Emily kept reaching out, her messages desperate, apologetic. I thought it would help, one read. I was wrong. Please, let's talk. I didn't respond. Mom and Sarah tried too, their voicemails full of excuses. I deleted them, my resolve firm. I moved out of our apartment, crashing with Mike in Tacoma while I sorted things out. The loneliness stung, but so did the clarity. Emily's betrayal wasn't just a mistake, it was a choice to ignore my pain, my boundaries. I leaned on friends, threw myself into work, and started therapy alone. It was hard, unraveling the hurt, but necessary. The wedding was supposed to be a beginning, but it became an end. I don't know what's next, but I know one thing. I did the right thing, walking away. My peace, my heart, they're worth protecting. Am I the asshole for leaving my wedding when Emily broke our trust?